Okay, so in lesson 6.2, we're going to be talking about how to find a percentage of a number mentally. Now, this doesn't mean you're going to find any random percent. There are specific percents that we want to work on being able to find without having to get a calculator out. These are some things that you would see in real life, like if you're trying to find a tip when you go out to eat, or if you go to a store and you see that there's a sale, so you need to figure out how much the item would cost once it's on sale. So, how to find percentages mentally. First one we're going to work with is finding 10% of a number. So this is actually our easiest percentage. All you need to do is move the decimal one place to the left. Okay, so 10% is not just for 10%, though we're going to apply it. If we look at the first one, 40% of 50. So our 40% would be the same as our 10% times 4. So 10% of 50, if we move that decimal once, would be 5. So then times 4 for our 40%, 4 times 5 gives us 20. So 40% of 50 would be 20. Looking at 30% of 70, again, applying our 10%. So 30% would be our 10% times 3. So if we move that decimal one to the left, our 10% is 7. Take that times 3. So 30% is 21. Okay, so that's 10% and then applying our 10%. Next up is finding 25% of a number. So 25% means we're going to divide by 4, because 20% is a quarter. So 25% of 76, we take 76 divided by 4. Do this in our head, or if you need to work it off to the side, that's fine. We're just not using a calculator. So 76 divided by 4 is 19. And for the second one, 75% of 36. So applying our 25%, 75% would be the same as finding 25%, and then taking that times 3 because it's 3 quarters. So if we do 36 divided by 4, that gives us 9. And then 9 times 3, 75% would be 27. Now, you're not always going to have to write all this work out. I'm just writing it out so that you can fill it into your notes and look back at it as a reference. Okay, so there's our quarters. Next up, finding 50%. So 50% is half, same as dividing by 2. So find 50% of 250. Well, if we do 250 divided by 2, that gives us 125. All right, our 100%. So 100% of a number is the number. So 100% of 27 is 27. No work involved in that one. Applying our 100%. So 300% would be the same as finding 100% and taking it times 3. So 100% of 15 is 15. Take that times 3 because I want 300%. So our 300% equals 45. All right, make sure you are writing down any questions if you have them as we go through. Almost done with the lesson. Okay, so some other kind of random percents. Find 5% of 40. So 5% is taking half of our 10%. So if I wanted to find 5% of 40, I would first find my 10%, which means we move the decimal once. So that's 4. And then take half of that. So 5% would be 2. Okay, so now find 33 1/3% of 93. 33 1/3 is the same as 1/3, so we divide by 3. So 93 divided by 3 gives us the answer of 31. And then just make a side note here. If you see 66 2/3%, that would be divide by 3 and then multiply by 2, because that would be our 33 1/3 times 2. Okay, last up, we have some mixed percents. So we can take any of the rules that we just did and combine them to find a mixed percent. So if we asked you to find 15% of 450, so 15% would be 10% plus 5%. So our 10%, move that decimal once, is 45. Our 5%, we take half of 45, is 22.5, so 22.5. And then we add them. So our 15%, if we add these, would give us 67.5, 67.5. All right, last one to do together. Find 125% of 24. Again, we think this through. 125% would be 100% plus 25%. So 100% of 24 is 24. 25%, we divide by 4. 24 divided by 4 is 6. So then we add them to get 125% is 30. Okay, so there's a bunch of different rules for you guys to think about. Most of them, as you work them through, you probably already know them or already had a good idea about them. And then we've got a couple for you to try here. There's 3 of them. We have 150% of 82, 20% of 75, and 75% of 44. All right, try those out. Make sure you have them done for tomorrow.